Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Sitaram Jai Sitaram Jai Sitaram 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 Jai Sitaram Jai Sitaram 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 Jai Sitaram Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Jai Sitaram Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Jai Sitaram Sri Ramchandra Bhagavan Ki Jai Sri Ramchandra Bhagavan Ki Jai Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ji Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming this afternoon on this very auspicious day. It's doubly auspicious that not only is it Ekadashi, when one can observe certain fasts, because fasting is good, and not only good for the health and mind, but is also good for the environment. And it's good for one's strengthening of one in a devotional life. But on top of that, we're also observing, we're going to be discussing today a little bit, sharing a few thoughts about the inauguration and the opening of the new Ram temple in Ayodhya. But we don't want to, we want to mainly focus on the Lord himself and how important that appearance of the Lord is. There's a very nice verse in the Vedic literatures, Ramadi Murti Shukalani Amena Tishtan, Nana Avataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu. Krishnak Swayam Savamavat Paramak Manyo, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. which explains that the Lord, He appears for many reasons, and He appears in every age. And He appears in different incarnations with different activities. And so there's a purpose behind everything that the Lord does. It's not that, again, things are happening just sort of whimsically out there and whatever happens, it's meant to be, or something like that. But instead, it's that the Lord comes in scheduled appearances. So even the Vedic literatures, they predict the different auspicious appearances of the Lord and what one should do when those appearances come. Can you hear me? So it's all of these activities of the Lord are especially meant for deliverance of the conditioned souls. And so when the Lord comes, He comes again with a purpose in every age. In Satya Yuga, the Lord appeared as Nrsimhadev to protect his devotee Prahlad, as we see in this wonderful painting in the backside there, where Lord Nrsimhadev, the half-man, half-lion incarnation, he comes to protect his devotee. Just like after every artik, we always sing this wonderful song, Namaste Narasimhaya, where we're offering respects and asking for protection. So the Lord came in Satya Yuga with that purpose. He appeared in Dwapara Yuga, the third age, in the form of Lord Krishna, to exhibit transcendental pastimes, loving activities. Because we need some example. In the Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear in the form of Kalki, who is the chastiser. Because at the end of this kalpa, at the end of this 4 yuga cycle, by then the general mass of people, if there are any devotees, probably not, but at that time, the mass of people will be engaged in all sorts of dark and ignorant activities. And to rectify all of that, the Lord has to come and He chastises those who are engaged in such activities, and He brings in the next Satya Yuga, or Golden Age. In between all of that, there is the Treta Yuga, in which the Lord appeared as Lord Ram. And His purpose was to show the proper leadership that has to be there, the proper management that has to be there in a human society. Again, these are all instructive for us. The Lord is coming to protect. He comes to show us how we should conduct ourselves in our everyday lives. And then He shows us how His loving pastimes can attract everyone. How the Lord also has this wonderful loving side. And then, of course, those who are not interested, then they can go ahead and deal with Kalki. But the Lord comes, and in this particular case, we're going to be reading about Lord Ramchandra, who came during a time when there were some difficulties with the Kshatriyas, the rulers. And so the Lord had to come and show by example how how one should conduct oneself, how management should be done in a perfect way. And in such a perfect way that all of the necessities of life would be provided for by for the mass of people. So, to record all of this, there was the birth of one great sage who is sometimes glorified as Adi Kavi, or the first poet. And this person is also responsible for creating this format of shloka that we sometimes that we read in the Vedic literatures, just like Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja, Ang Tong Sarva Papebhyo Mokshay Shamima Sucha. This is a shloka format, and Adi Kavi was responsible for, or is credited with creating that format. This person was the son of a great sage whose name was Prachetasha. And he, as a young boy, after his birth, after just some short period of time, of just a few years, he took it upon himself to go off into the woods. As sometimes we see young kids, young children, they like to sort of wander off. You have to keep an eye on them. So this young boy, he was given the name Ratnakara. He wandered off into the woods and got lost in the forest. So while in the forest, he was found by one hunter, and the hunter adopted this young boy, Ratnakara. He gave him that name, and trained this young boy in how to become a hunter as well. So he became very accomplished in the art. And Ratnakara was going along with his life, and when he became of marriageable age, he decided, let me get a family. So he married someone from the hunter family, and he developed a large family, so much so that he found it very difficult to maintain them. And so much so that he didn't know what to do. So he decided, I should become a robber. So what he would do is he would wait along the pathways, and as people would be walking along, he would rob them of their wealth or whatever he could get from them. And he lived a life of a dacoit in that way, and became very well known for his robbing techniques. So one day, Narada Muni came walking along, and Narada Muni, we know, is a wonderful transcendental son of Lord Brahma. And Narada Muni was traveling along, and this Ratnakara, he saw this person, and he immediately approached him to rob him. But this Narada Muni was not at all disturbed. And Ratnakara was quite surprised. How is this that this person is not affected by or disturbed by my approaching him? And was taken back. Narada Muni at that point asked him, Ratnakara, why are you doing such activities? Why are you engaged in such sinful work? robbing innocent pilgrims. This is not a good practice. But Ratnakara, his response was that, what can I do? I need to maintain my family. So Narada Muni asked, well, then you go back and ask your family, will they share or accept the sinful reactions for your life? So Ratnakara thought, okay, sure. It's a reasonable request. I've been working like crazy maintaining this family, and I'm engaged in all sorts of sinful work. Maybe we could spread the responsibility around a little bit. So he went back, he tied up Narada Muni, and he went back to his family, and he asked them, can all of you help with, with this responsibility? We need to split up the responsibility of the karmic reactions that are going to be incurred by all of me working for you, supporting you. And they all declined. No, we can't do that. So he became very discouraged. So he went back to the forest where he had Narada Muni tied up, and he asked him, he beseeched him, please tell me what to do. How can I get out of this terrible cycle? And Narada Muni told him that you should chant the name of Ram. Just sing this name over and over and over. But Ratnakara, he tried, and he couldn't, for some reason, he couldn't pronounce it correctly. For some reason. Sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes we have, our tongue gets tied and we can't pronounce something, even though it may be the simplest thing. If you look at it very, very carefully, it's really not that complicated, but we get confused by it. So Ratnakara, no, I can't do this. Okay, then you chant Mara. Okay? If you can't chant Ram, then chant Mara, which means what? Death. Oh, yeah, I can do that. So he chanted this Mara for some time, and as years passed, he continued his chanting. He sat in one isolated, some distant, secluded place, and Lord Brahma happened to be passing by, and he saw this mountain of dirt that had accumulated, and he discovered that underneath this mountain of dirt that was created by ants. Right? You've seen ant hills someplace. If you go out in the desert areas, sometimes you see a big mountain of ants or debris created by ants. So the ants had built over him as he was sitting there chanting. They had built a mountain of dirt over him. And all the while he was just simply chanting. So when Brahma saw this, that there's this hill created by ants, Valmika, he decided to give him the name Valmiki and blessed him to write. He commissioned him to write this wonderful literature, the Sri Ramayana, about the life and pastimes of Lord Ram, the life story. So what can we take from this? And this is the crux or the main thrust of what we're going to be discussing today, and that is the effects of association. We all have experienced that when you associate with certain people, you develop certain qualities. The drunkards, they become association for those who are looking to be a drunkard. Robbers, etc., etc. Scientist, student, athlete, whatever. So it's by that association that creates a certain personality. So in the Vedic literatures, it's described Kirata Huninda Pulunda Pulkasha Ambira Shamba Javana Kasharaya. That there are certainly different classes and species, races of people. Kiratas, Hunindas, Pulundas, Pulkashas, Yavanas, Kashadas. All of these are described in the Vedic literatures. Shudyanti tasmai prabhavishnave nama. That all of these persons, despite whatever their training or whatever their association has been in life, they can be purified by the association of a devotee. So Valmiki, by that association with Narada Muni, became a Maharishi. He became a very exalted personality, that so much so that he was able to communicate with the Lord in his heart and write down this wonderful literature of the Sri Ramayana, in which this story, in which this particular writing, which again was a poem, he describes the wonderful activities of Lord Ram. And he first begins to describe the wonderful city of Ayodhya, which for those who may not know, it's in Uttar Pradesh, in northern part of India, but it's just southeast of Delhi, not far. And as Savas Prabhu was mentioning, there are so many observances going on all around the world. Just in America alone, there are some 300 live broadcasts being conducted. And in Times Square, if anyone's ever been to New York, you know they have the big boards. The opening, the inauguration is going to be broadcast live. Jai Sitaram Lakshmana Hanumana Ji Ki Jai. And what to speak of around the world, as he was explaining that in Ayodhya they're going to be distributing some 10,000 plates of prasadam, at least minimum 10,000. There's going to be millions of people, but some 10,000 for the whole month. It's not just 1 or 2 days, but it's for the whole month. It's a monthly celebration. So this is going to be quite a wonderful observance for Lord Ram. So Valmiki describes that this young boy, the Lord appeared as the son of Dasarat. Dasarat was a very exalted king in the Surya Vamsa, and his predecessors, he was descended from some of his previous ancestors were persons like Maharaj Katvanga. And if in the Bhagavatam it describes how Katvanga was such a powerful king that he was asked by the demigods to assist them in their fight against the Asuras. So he was asked to go up to the heavenly planets. Can you come up here and help us? He was so strong and powerful that after the battle, when he was asked, what kind of benediction would you like? Maharaj Katvanga asked, the only thing I want to know is, how long do I have to live? and he was told, "You have just a few moments left." So he immediately came back down from the heavenly planets and engaged in meditation upon the personality of Godhead. Immediately, as soon as he heard that, he didn't hesitate. He went immediately and engaged in devotional service, meditating upon the Lord. And prior to Katvanga, there's Bhagirath, right? This is also again described in Bhagavatam. Who is Bhagirath? Bhagirath is a great yogi who is so pious and so powerful that he was able to get Mother Ganga to come from the heavenly planets to the earthly planet. No one had been able to do this. But by his desire and his devotion, he was able to invite and get the mother herself, Mother Ganga, to come to the earthly planets. And what is the significance of that? We all know that by bathing in the Ganga, first of all, it comes from Vaikuntha, from the causal ocean. It touches the lotus feet of the Lord, and when the Lord penetrated through the causal ocean, there was a small penetration there, that the causal ocean came into the heavenly planets and then finally came down to the earthly planet. So Mother Ganga is so special, but she said only on two conditions, right? Only on two conditions. First of all, who will catch me? Because Mother Ganga is a very powerful devotee of the Lord, and in her form as Ganga, Mother Ganges, who will catch me? So it was decided, Lord Shiva was petitioned, and Ganga would fall on his tuft of hair. And you see that picture sometimes. It portrays the Ganga coming from the causal ocean onto Lord Shiva's head and then onto the earthly planet. And then secondly, who would purify me? Because so many persons, they'll be taking bath in the Ganga, and I have to take on these sinful reactions. So who will purify me? And the answer was that the devotees of the Lord will come and they'll take bath in the Ganga, and by their taking bath, she'll be relieved of her sinful activities. Gangambasham kalaput bune pena pankar. Baramadva dravatma paramagat. I forget the last line of the verse, but it's described that the devotees of the Lord are so powerful. Tirtakuvani tirtani. They're so powerful that they can purify even the most holy places by their association, which is our main point today. That it's by association that the holy places and even Mother Ganga herself can be purified. So the effects of association can't be minimized. And this wonderful young man, by his lineage, we can understand is very special. Of course, we know he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by his lineage, we could understand what a special personality he is. As a young man, he would sometimes go off with Vashishta, who was the priest of the demigods. And the priestly class, sometimes they would go off into the forest and they would perform their sacrifices. And they would be constantly harassed by Rakshasas. Rakshasas are the human flesh eaters. And they would live in the forests. And when the Brahmanas would perform their sacrifices, these Rakshasas would come and they would disturb the whole sacrifice, sometimes eat them. So Vashishta, he asked that King Dasarath, can I have your son that he can come and fight these personalities, because they would have mystical powers. They were quite strong. So this young boy, Ramchandra, would assist Vashishta in dealing with some of these personalities. Finally, when he was young enough, or old enough, I should say, he was some 27 years old, it was time for his coronation. King Dasarath, it's time to retire. I need to just devote myself to my spiritual practices. And so it's time for Ramchandra to be coronated as the next king. So on his return, by some intrigue, his stepmother Kaikeyi made some intrigue to, instead of Ramchandra being installed, her son, Bharat Maharaj, who again is exalted personality. We understand Ramchandra, Bharat, Shatrughna, and Lakshman. They were Vishnu themselves, incarnate. And for the purpose of pastime, they took on these relationships. So Bharat, actually, we understand he's the Vishnu Tattva, that he came to engage and assist Lord Ramchandra. He refused. Instead, he would take the shoes of Ram. He placed them on his head and he went off into the forest. And he managed the kingdom from there. He refused to take on the seat. Ramchandra was banished for some 14 years. And with him went Lakshman and Sita, and they went off into the forest. King Dasarath was so shaken by this whole episode that he passed away. He died. And but Ramchandra, he stuck to his vow. His father asked, "Can you please do this?" And he followed it. So while in the forest, they would live in very austere way. And again, the forest is a very dangerous place. There's all kinds of rakshasas, and the brothers came upon one particular rakshasi. Her name was Sapurnika. And she was fascinated by the handsomeness of Lord Ram. But Lord Ram said, no, I can't, because I have Sita here. Take my brother. And Lakshman is wondering, what are you trying to do? She insisted. And finally the Lord Ram, he took Sapurnika and he cut off her, he disfigured her, cut off her nose. And she ran to her brother, who was living in Sri Lanka at the time. They had a conversation. She began to describe the beauty of Sita. He asked, who had done this to you? All this Ram, Lakshman, but Sita, she's very, very beautiful. Oh, and he became very fascinated by this. So he made an arrangement that he would go to the forest, Dantakaranya, where they were staying, and he wanted to steal this Sita Devi. And many of us have seen the story and how it unfolds he steals Sita Devi. He goes back to Sri Lanka. There's a battle between Ram and Ravan is vanquished. Or first of all, he goes to the ocean, finding out from Jatayu, who had tried to save Sita Devi, that they've gone to, it's Ravana, and they've gone to Sri Lanka. So Lord Ram goes to the ocean edge and he fasts there for 3 days, waiting for the personification of the ocean to come so that he can begin a construction of a bridge across to Sri Lanka from way in the south there, from Rameshwaram in that area, Kanyakumari, all the way over to Sri Lanka. There's some, what is it, some 26 miles or something? I believe it's approximately that, before a distance of ocean. So how to get there? So he was waiting for the ocean to come, and she refused, and then he, simply by his glance, she became, felt his anger. So she appeared and said, by all means, please construct across my waters. And so the Lord, with the assistance of Hanuman and the various other monkeys, they constructed this wonderful bridge, which actually, if you look on satellite projections, there's still remnants. They're discovering remnants of that bridge to this day, spanning that mainland to the island. So this led to a fierce battle in which Ravan was defeated and Vibhishan, his brother, was installed. Ravan, we can understand, was not just some ordinary Rakshasa. He was actually very learned. Srila Prabhupada makes this point. He was actually very, very learned. But his one fault was that he didn't want to accept the supremacy or the position of Lord Ram. That was his one fault. So just like in this material world, we see so many persons who may be very qualified in all of their education, their beauty or knowledge or strength or wealth, but all of that is useless. It can be taken away in a flash if we don't recognize who is the owner and controller. And not recognizing the position of Lord Ram, although Ravan was very, very powerful, so powerful that even the demigods would run away from him to avoid him. He was defeated. And that was his one mistake. So after his defeat, the Lord went back to Ayodhya, and again he was installed as the king. Sometimes people, they talk of Ram Raj. You hear this statement, Ram Raj. They even have a political party that's called Ram Raj. But Ram Raj, Srila Prabhupada points out, they want Raj without Ram. They want the material, they want the position, they want the opulence, the enjoyment, but without God. But what is that? Just like, again, Ravan was of the same mindset. So it's so important to have the proper understanding. When Lord Ram again took on the throne, his work was that the occupational duties for the advancement of society were followed. In other words, he reestablished Varnashram Dharma. And it's a system by which, again, the mass of people can naturally understand what is their duty in life and follow that occupation so that they can make advancement. And that same advancement is available in the Kali Yuga. Kali Kali Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar. The Lord has appeared kindly in this age in the form of the holy name, by which that same consciousness can be created by chanting the Lord's holy name. And a similar experience can be there even in this age of Kali. And it's all again by proper association. By associating with the right personalities, even the most fallen persons can be engaged in beneficial works such that we can advance properly in life. There's a very nice description given in the Shastra where it's described that Namaste, Namaste, Kripa Purna Drishte, which means that the glance of the exalted personalities, just as here in this story of Narada delivering Valmiki, it's the glance of the exalted personalities such as Narada Muni or Prahlad or the Goswamis or Srila Prabhupada. Their glance is full of mercy. Namaste, Namaste, Kripa Purna Drishte. Just by their glancing upon a suffering soul, they can be enlivened. Namaste, Namaste, Kripa Purna Drishte, Namaste, Namaste, Mahananda Tatre. That they can also be infused with transcendental bliss. They can be encouraged to do something useful in their lives. And it's a transcendental experience. It's not something that is just temporary or it's based on some time, place, and circumstance. It's not conditional. But it's a transcendental bliss that comes. And Namaste, Namaste, Mahananda Datre, Namamo Namama Punya Raksha Raksha, Videida in Payuho Daksha Daksha. We're praying that please protect me. We're asking these exalted personalities to please protect us and kindly bestow their compassion upon us. Just as, again, Narada Muni delivered Valmiki to the point where he was able to write this wonderful literature for all of us to experience the wonderful and transcendental activities of Lord Ram. So, to hear about these activities and these persons, it's not useless. There's a very nice description given by Shukadeva Goswami in which he says that anyone who hears orally the narrations concerning their characteristics of Lord Ramchandra's pastimes will be ultimately freed from the disease of envy and thus be liberated from the bondage of fruitive activities. Now, what is the importance of this? Here in the material world, we can understand everyone is envious of someone else. It's a fact. Even in religious life, sometimes it's found that one person who is advancing in spiritual activities is envied by others. And such envious persons, as a result of that, they're not completely freed from the bondage of birth and death. As long as one is not completely freed from birth and death, from the cause of birth and death, then one cannot enter into the eternal pastimes of the Lord. So, a spiritual practitioner has to learn how to become free from envy by which is again is caused by the bodily concept of life. I think I'm of this country, or I'm of this nation, or I'm of this neighborhood, or I'm of this skin, etc., etc. It goes on and on. A devotee is never envious of anyone, even his enemy, because the devotee knows that the Lord is his supreme protector. Therefore, we take shelter of such devotees, such as Narada Muni, or Prahlad, or the Goswamis, or Srila Prabhupada. To understand how the Lord comes in different ages is very important, and it's with a purpose. And we're very fortunate that this work is being done all across the world. Now thousands and millions of people are realizing the significance of Lord Ram. They're realizing the significance of chanting the holy names of the Lord. They're realizing the significance of engaging in some devotional work in your life to make your life successful. Hare Krishna. Do we have any comments? Yes? Oh, yes, sure, certainly. Some prasad. Hare Krishna. Thank you. This is from Ayodhya Dham. I think you want to get some of Lord Ram's mercy. Even one grain of rice is so special. Yes, we had a question? Yes. Yes. Thank you, thank you. We have to make the right choice. So there's going to be prasadam served across the way here, and thank you again very much for coming, and we'll hope to see you again. Hare Krishna.